Welcome to Joyful Money, the sales and business growth podcast for female coaches, consultants, and service providers who are ready to confidently lead their business, master their sales process, and create consistent 10K months. I am your host, Joy Rowland, certified business growth strategist, money mindset mentor, and your guide to selling with alignment, authority, and ease. Each week, we'll talk strategy, mindset, and energetics so you can attract dream clients, close high ticket offers with confidence, and build the profitable, joyful business you deserve. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this exciting episode of the Joyful Money podcast. I am super thrilled because I have a special guest for you today. My special guest is Amy Lenius. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Amy is a speaker, she's a coach, and she is the director of group coaching at Next Level University. I am super thrilled because we are going to dive into specific topics that are so close to my heart and so close to your hearts as well, the listeners, which is self-worth, self-belief, consistency, and stress reduction. Like we have a lot to talk about. But first of all, welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you so much, Joy. It's such an honor to be here. I deeply believe that time is our only limited commodity. And so when I get to share that time with someone and practice my craft and speak out into what I'm sure is a beautiful audience of yours, I just get so grateful. So thank you.
I'm so excited to have you here. And before we hit the record button, like we were chit-chatting and we discovered we live just an hour and a half from each other. I'm like, what?
I know, fellow Canadians. So exciting.
So cool. Okay, so why don't you start by introducing yourself to the audience and telling us what you do?
Oh, thank you. So, like you said, my name is Amy Lenius, and I am a coach, a speaker, a podcast guester, and a facilitator of as many experiences as I can at Next Level University. That is, if it could have an unofficial job title, I am a facilitator of a great experience where people can feel safe, feel heard, and feel, again, safe to grow without
Mm,
judgment, with so much support and love. And I get to do that through group coaching. I get to do that through many of the things we have to offer. And it is without a doubt, 100% the most aligned work I have ever been able to do,
mm.
and the most aligned company I've been able to partner with. And so the journey to get here has been wonderful, but the stuff that I get to do now is my favorite.
Oh gosh, I love this so much. And I love that you said you're creating a space for people to feel safe to grow. The reason that resonates so well with me is because the women I work with, when we start coaching, I discover that there is this fear, the fear of being seen, the fear of kind of shining their light into the world. And I know this stems from many, many experiences from childhood where, especially as women, we do not feel like it's safe to be seen. We don't feel like it's safe to grow. We don't feel like it's safe to be wealthy. And so I love that you mentioned that. But can you shine more light on that specific part, please?
Oh my gosh, I love that you pinpointed that because I myself, yes, we work with just about everybody with all the things we have to offer at NLU, but my favorite and my niche and my specialty is women as well, and I find the same. I find you can put people into two buckets. There's the fear of success or the fear of failure, and a lot of women fall into the fear of success bucket.
Mm,
And a deep down root of that is they fear the relationships that they have are going to change or be lost because of it. Because when they become more, the people around them, even the people who are considered their most loved ones,
mm,
change and treat them differently. And, as you know, when we grow self-worth and grow all of these things, we increase in boundaries, we increase in self-respect. And if anyone is benefiting from us having low boundaries, low self-respect, and anything like that, and that starts to shift, it really changes up the relationships. And women are such serving hearts, so relationship driven on average, not everybody. But it doesn't, so it messes with them a little bit. So they learn to play really small to not
mm,
ruffle any feathers within their dynamics. And I notice that quite a bit myself.
mm. Wow. Gosh, I love this. Okay, so we're going to dive in deeper into self-worth, self-belief, and being consistent, which is your specialty, all of these three key areas. But before we dive in, I want you to give us a little bit of background about how you got to where you are now. Like just looking at you, you're articulate, you're successful, you are magnetic. Like me looking at you on the screen. And if you are listening on the Apple Podcast or Spotify, head on to over on the YouTube channel so you can see the magnetism I can see on the screen. So tell us about your journey because I know you have had to deal with chronic illness. And so I feel like I want the listeners to have a little bit of background so that they can lean in as you speak and they can sit up to say, no, Amy is someone I need to listen to. So tell us about how you got to where you are today.
Oh my goodness, thank you. So I grew up very sick. I did
Mm,
about around teenager, puberty-ish. I got really sick. I ended up having a hormonal condition in women called endometriosis. Now, we didn't know that right off the bat because, of course, as soon as you hit puberty as a woman, it's, oh, these pains are normal. Welcome to womanhood. Oh, you just have really bad cycles. Blah, 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 blah. So it took me a really long time to get a diagnosis, and I ended up getting the diagnosis of endometriosis, and I was on all sorts of hormone therapies, different drugs, pain medications, multiple surgeries.
mm,
It was obviously very devastating, very exhausting. I was told I could never have children by a specialist at one point, and that was devastating for me as well because I was one of those little girls who didn't have career goals. I had motherhood goals. That was my only futuristic goal that I could ever see myself in. And so that was a really devastating time. And in my early 20s, I myself was becoming a registered massage therapist out in British Columbia. That's where I'm from, out west. And I started studying anatomy and physiology. I fell in love with endocrine system and just started learning as much as I could. And I realized that I needed a change.
mm,
To get off of all the drugs that I was on, I needed to just find out what was working, what wasn't, because I was on and doing all of these things that the doctors had told me to do, but yet I was still having daily pain and still having extreme moments of like collapsing in pain and just immobile problems, and it was detrimental to my life, obviously.
mm,
And so I started to just really what I would call take my own power back. I safely went off of everything so I could at least get to know my body again and just decide what was working for me and what wasn't. And so that ended up being a really incredible journey. I started dabbling in different modalities of health. I saw a naturopath who taught me more about how my internal environment is about so much more than just the uterus that everyone wanted to look at and tell me was broken. It was about, okay, well, how's your liver? How's your guts?
mm,
How's your sleep? Hey, let's talk about external environment. How's your stress? And so starting to
mm,
paint this picture of actually holistic. So holistic is one of my absolute favorite words. It means that everything affects everything else. And we can apply it
yes.
to just about everything. I love even saying things like holistic self-improvement because
Mm,
not only does our liver affect our gut, our brain affect, it's all together, but our internal environment is affected by our external environment. They're both communities that affect each other. Externally affects us internally. But we also see it in society where we get separated into these boxes. Well, my career is this, and my home life is this, and my fitness is this, and we act like they're separate. But if something
mm,
is wrong at home, it affects you at work. If something is wrong at work, it affects you at home. And so that belief of holistic, of everything affects everything else, is deeply rooted within everything I do now and support people with. And I got to paint that picture very clearly when I was sick, because when I started treating my entire being as this holistic version, internally and externally, I started to heal. I started supporting
mm,
my gut, supporting my internal environment with all of these beautiful supplements and foods and teas. I'm addicted to tea. That is my vice. I am not a coffee drinker, but oh my goodness, if I can't have my morning tea, look out. And then external environment, learning to cleanse my environment from endocrine disruptors and finding less stress and finding what that meant to me and finding purpose and passion and fulfillment, having my children. I was able to have two beautiful boys. I homeschool those boys now. They're 12 and 10. We've had just this beautiful life together so far. And where this all led me, so I had my registered massage therapy practice. I loved working on women's health there as well. I did a lot of pre and postnatal health, a lot of pelvic balancing for women, and then I got to expand into helping women elsewhere. I got asked to speak on stages and at these events, and I found that I fell in love with that. Speaking into
Mm,
women's health, speaking in all of these things. And we said, I was talking to you about this behind the scenes, is I started to see these barriers women were hitting, these ceilings. And I was like, okay, well, what beliefs did I have about this journey that they don't, that they can't follow me on this journey? And when I reflect back, it turns out I had very high self-belief. I deeply
mm,
believed that if I just kept going, if I kept looking for the next thing, if I kept going and finding a different modality, a different doctor to help me, a different practitioner, anything like that, I could figure this out. And a
mm,
lot of us don't have that. We do
mm,
not have a lot of high self-belief. I
mm,
also had a decent level of self-worth where I knew I was worthy of feeling better. I knew I was worthy of having a higher quality of life. And then I started working with these women. I had a group coaching program for a while called the Peaceful Period Project, where I taught them about their cycles and taught them about their stress and all of these things. And they were still meeting these limits.
mm,
They were struggling with consistency, struggling with the worthiness, struggling with the self-belief. I was like, oh my goodness, this is way more important. Yes, our health is important. Yes, our cycles as women is very important. But in any success journey, and now that I've partnered with Next Level University, who deeply believe in daily self improvement, self awareness, and where I learned the deeper frameworks of self belief and self worth through Kevin, through Alan, and I helped co create the framework for consistency and things. I can look back now, again, hindsight's always 2020, and be like, this is why. We will always meet the limits of our self belief, our self worth, and our ability to be consistent. And so now learning to assess that in people and help
mm,
them build those things for the sake of whatever success means to them, because I deeply believe that's an individual goal. Maybe it's monetary in business, maybe it's health, maybe it's relationships, anything like that. You are going to meet the levels of these three pillars. And so now that I've just been able to hone in on these three things and then tailor it to the individual, and of course, there's expanding things you can do from there, and each individual is different, but I have just these basic frameworks to go off of that are very simplistic, but it doesn't mean they're easy. Any change in life
mm.
is always challenging, but they have been absolutely life-changing, not only for myself, but all the people we work with. And so it is something that I speak on with my whole heart.
Wow. This is incredible. I love your journey and I want to delve in a bit deeper. How did you find your way out of, I want to say, a deep hole of that pain, that chronic illness? I know you said you had high self-belief, but if you can go back, can you pinpoint a time where you started to build that high self-belief that if you kept going, if you kept trying different things, that you will finally find the answer? The reason I ask is because the listeners here, they are women who are trying to build successful businesses. And I feel like that high self belief is absolutely critical for them to be able to understand that first, I can create wealth. And second, I am worthy. I am worthy of X amount of dollars. So, like you said, success is individual. So, let's say someone wants to make 50K every single month. That's your goal. I am worthy of X dollars, $50,000 per month. So let's go back. Where did that high self-belief come from?
Mm. So what's really exciting is both of these things can be built. You are not born
Mm,
with a set level of self-belief and self-worth and doomed to live at those levels. They can be built and they can be built small and sustainably every day. And I absolutely will teach you how if you want me to. I believe, one, I'm very blessed to have had a really beautiful upbringing. So that I think that matters. I know that matters.
yes.
Like I said, it can be built. So if you did not grow up the way I did, you still can build self-belief and self-worth. But I grew up in a very lovely home, parents together, lovely, just very simplistic little life, genuinely. Not like financially abundant or anything like that, but we had everything we needed, and the home was filled with lots of love. And I was in sports. Sports is a big one to build belief. I went to school, I had friends. And when you look back, when I teach you the framework, this is all going to make sense. But there's these little moments where you can see where when you're doing hard things consistently, you do build self-belief. And if we
Mm,
just want to keep it to my illness, I was sick almost every day and still found a way to show up. still found a way to show up for
Mm,
school, still found a way to show up for my post-secondary, still found a way to show up for life the best I could, for my friends, for having
mm.
fun. I mean, there were some days I couldn't, of course, but now again, there's also saying something about me suppressing basically everything I went through. So there's that part that needs healed a little bit, but there's something for optimistic delusion sometimes as well. It's like, oh, what pain? It's fine. I can do this. So again, building self-belief comes through doing hard things. Genuinely. And what's really beautiful, I don't want you all to get scared away or turn this off because I'm not going to force you to do hard things every day to build your self-belief. I'm actually going to teach you how to do it with the most mundane things. So you don't have to be chronically sick and ill and in pain every day to be able to do this. But I do believe all of that is where it came from.
Wow, that is so beautiful. So yes, teach us the framework and give us a mini masterclass on how to start building self-belief. And I love that you said it's a skill that can be learned. So for those of us that didn't have excellent childhood, listen up, okay? Amy, take it away.
Oh, I'm so excited. So, self belief, and we always start here because even in self worth, self belief is so important. Self belief is one of the most important skills I think we can have as humans. And I think it should be a focus of ours to build as much as possible all the time. Now, it is not a 0 to 10, I have arrived kind of thing.
Mm,
I deeply believe that we can increase these pillars for our whole life. There is no arrival. You can always have more belief, you can always have more worth. And so, self belief is three simple steps. It's
mm,
state, prove, self-assign. And I'm going to explain to you what those mean. And I'm going to use the most ridiculous, mundane thing so I can give you an example of how this can work. So, if we're going to do laundry today, Joy, we're going to do laundry. This morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to say, okay, today is laundry day. We're going to do laundry. So, state, I say I'm going to do the laundry.
mm,
Prove, I go and I do the laundry. Self
mm,
assign. Self assign is one of the most important pieces of these three pieces for a lot of women because we rarely celebrate ourselves for the things that we
mm,
should be, quotations, doing every day. We're very hard on ourselves in this one. And so I want to have a moment to celebrate the fact that I did the laundry. I want to build that into my identity, not just pass it off as something else that I have done today without allowing it to build into my self belief. So I'm going to
mm,
say, I'm going to do the thing. I go and I do the thing, and then I acknowledge that I did the thing I said I was going to do. And I have women where I am helping them do this, and I make them practice on it for brushing their teeth twice a day because they
mm,
are so hard on themselves for not giving themselves credit for anything they will do in a day that is considered mundane day to day things. And so if you can do this for the laundry, you can absolutely celebrate yourself when those big milestones come as well. And what's really exciting is when those big milestones come, you will believe that you built that yourself. You will believe that you are worthy of that thing instead of being met with imposter syndrome
mm,
because you were able to build these habits along the way. So say you're
mm,
going to do it, prove that you can get it done, and then self assign. Have your little moment of celebration. Now, I have some women who are very loud, outward celebrators. They do a little dance, they cheer. I myself am a more subtle being. So I will look at that thing and I will just be like, nice, I did that thing.
mm,
So wherever you are on that spectrum, maybe a little more subtle, or maybe you'll want to cheer and dance and do whatever it is to solidify into your identity that you did the thing you said you were going to do.
mm,
The self assign, we have two buckets of people that struggle with that. So the first bucket is the should. So let's use
mm,
the laundry again. I did the laundry. I said I was going to do the laundry. I did the laundry. If you keep seeing me point, I picked it's a framework of a triangle, and there's one, two, and three. And it's a cycle. Three feeds you back into one. So I said I was going to do the laundry. I did the laundry. Oh, but I should have done more. I should have
mm,
folded it and put it away. I should have separated the whites from the colors better. Should. Whatever it is, whatever story you're telling yourself that is putting you into a shame spiral, taking you out of assigning that as something you did and building that into an identity as something. So there's that person, which I find a lot of women fall into. They should all over themselves and create this shame spiral and don't allow themselves to celebrate and build into the identity. The
Mm,
second person is someone who treats this instead of as a cycle, as a job done. So they don't keep building the self-belief. So basically, I said I was going to do the laundry. I did the laundry. I am the best ever of all time, and I never have to do laundry again. And then they don't build this, they don't see it as a cycle. They treat it as a task done. Now, again, there is no right and wrong. You are on one of those ends, I guarantee it. It's more, what is it? Where are you on that spectrum? Are you the should who doesn't self-assign, or do you self-assign too hard that you won't do it again? Again, know whichever one about yourself and realize that it's not serving you to be that way. And
mm,
start with the smallest of things, because if you can build this framework into something that you do every day, you are going to leverage the compound effect
mm.
and build self-belief over time every day.
Wow. Wow. Leverage the compound effect. And I feel like that's where consistency comes in, right? Because if I can do what you've just described for my laundry, then I can do this for my health goals. I want to lose weight. So if I say, oh, I'm going to take a 5 minute walk outside, and I go take a 5 minute walk outside, then I come back, I celebrate,
Hmm.
and then I keep building on that habit. So I love this so much. And like just very similar to what I teach, self-belief, but not in as detailed framework as you just described. But the way I teach it is before self belief, we have to do self acceptance. So that's where we accept all of our past, right? Because many women struggle with, oh, I should be better off, or I should be the director of next level university, right? All the shoulds. So I feel like before self belief, you need to accept yourself completely and self love, right? So I absolutely love your framework, and I'm so excited for people to explore this further with the next level university, because even before we hit the record button, we're talking about the free gift you'll be giving my audience today. And you very, very freely said your mission in the world is to give as much free value as possible. And we're going to share this at the end. So stay tuned, guys. You don't want to miss this. Um, so, Amy, I want us to go into the consistency part, because that's where I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle. They struggle with being consistent with a specific strategy long enough to start getting the results. And so I feel like many of us indulge in overwhelm. We choose to be overwhelmed, we choose to procrastinate because there's something holding us back from that consistency. So, having given us this framework, which is amazing, and I'm sure many people are going to start implementing so they can start getting results in their lives. But how can we then start building consistency so that we start getting the results we want?
Beautiful. I love the example you gave of the 5 minute walk, and I can already see the examples that I gave coming into that as well. It's like, well, I should have done a 10-minute walk. Oh, I did my
Mm,
5 minute walk. I never have to walk again. Both are not serving you. And again, when it comes to frameworks, we typically excel at one thing within the framework and we struggle at another. If you struggle to self assign, then that is the one you focus on. If you struggle to even get started in state, then that is the one you focus on. And just be really wary of where you're tripping yourself up and how you can just give yourself so much grace and self understanding to start with as humble of beginnings as you need to get
mm,
this started. Maybe it is with the laundry, but I would prefer it be something that you do every day. Compound effect, 7 apples on Sunday is not as good as 1 apple a day. It's that theory. And the more we can do that, the better. Consistency. Consistency has a huge amount of self-acceptance, like you said. A
mm,
big part of consistency is self-belief, like we just talked about, but it's also humility. To
mm,
build sustainable consistency, you need to have humility, an accurate assessment of where you are starting, because you want to build as solid a foundation as possible. And if you are building from a state of kind of delusion, of maybe lots of us like to think we're less than, and some of us think we're a little bit more than, so we jump a little higher on things that are not going to be sustainable for us. So both, again, know whatever one is true about you and just have a moment of humility for accuracy so that you can build the most solid foundation when it comes to your self-belief and your consistency. And so the framework for consistency, I want you to picture a five-pointed star, and we're going to go 1 through 5. So 1 is self-belief. The first step of
Mm,
consistency is believing that you can be. Now, again, it's a circle in a way. Yes, it's a star, but these all feed back into each other. And you're going to be able to build self-belief through this, but you need to start at a level that you believe you can. So
mm,
is the thing you're setting out to be consistent and possible? Amazing. Is it possible for you yet? Yes or no? If it's a yes, start there. If it's not, break it down.
mm,
Number 2 is humility. Accurate self-assessment. Like I just said, you want to start from a place of accuracy, not inflation, not deflation, accuracy. Where are you starting? Super
mm,
humility, self-awareness. And the third is sustainability. How
mm,
often do I see people unable to stick to the things they want to because they don't have the humility to make it sustainable first? So many people let go of their dreams, their goals, because they can't stay consistent, so they will convince themselves that the goal is not for them. Oh, that
mm,
must not be for me. No, you just didn't set yourself up for success first. You didn't start small enough to keep it sustainable. Let's keep using a walk. I love using fitness for the
yeah.
consistency star. If you say, okay, I am going to do a half-hour walk every day, but you've never been able to do that consistently, half hour is not the mark for you. You may need to start at 5. You may need to have the humility to start at those 5 minutes. And when you show yourself that you can do those 5 minutes, then you can build upon that foundation,
Mm,
up it to 10, up it to 15, then to 20. We need to build that solid foundation first before we jump too far and then try and convince ourselves that walking every day is not for us. Why even bother? So
mm.
sustainability, have the humility to start small. The next is adaptability. Life is crazy.
Yes.
I am a homeschooling mother of 2 boys who also does all this work in the world. If I can't adapt the habits that I am trying to do every day, there's no way they're sustainable. So, my
Mm,
fitness goal, for example, is 30 minutes of aligned movement every day. So, it has the measurement of time. You want a goal and a habit to have a measurement of some sort. Numbers always matter in habits. So, that's my 30 minutes. And the key words there are not 30 minutes of going to the gym and back or 30 minutes of HIIT training every day. One, I live out on the country on a dirt road in a town that doesn't even have a gym. So if I said I was going to go to the gym every day for an hour, I've already failed.
yes. Mm,
If I said I was going to do HIIT training every day, as someone who believes in cyclical health for women, I don't want to be doing that every day. Depending on where I'm at in my cycle, absolutely not. I would have already set
mm,
myself up for failure. Again, it's not 30 minutes first thing in the morning, and if I don't get it done, I fail. No, I am a
mm,
mother. Kids be crazy in the morning. It's a whole thing.
mm,
No, it needs to have a little bit of adaptability. If you didn't get it done in the morning, can you get it done at night? If you didn't get it done in this time frame, can you do it in this time frame? What is the adaptable version of your habit that you're trying to build? Because we need to have grace sometimes. Life
mm,
is very reactive. We can have as much proactivity as we can, but at the end of the day, life is very reactive. If you have a home, if you have children, if you have pets, if you have a spouse, there's so many things that come in and cause variables in your day. So how can you make sure that you have a bit of adaptability in there, especially if you struggle with perfectionism? This is a really
mm.
beautiful one. If you struggle with perfectionism, give yourself permission to adapt on your lower energy days or your crazy busy days or something like that. What is your baseline version of this habit? What is your baseline version so you can just check the box, but not
Mm,
do it 10 out of 10, not do it perfectly? Because there
mm,
are days where that does not exist. But for the
mm,
sake of being consistent and leveraging the compound effect and having a daily habit, you want to be able to get it done every day. So you have to let go of perfectionism and you need to have your bare minimum day because to stay
mm.
consistent, you cannot have 10 out of 10 effort in it every day. There's no way. You need to be able to adapt sometimes. So, what is your bare minimum version that is going to allow you to check the box that day? Make it adaptable. And the
Wow.
last one is grit. Number 5 is grit. Sometimes you just have to do it. You might not feel like it. Your day has been crazy, but you said you were going to do this thing. And you have to just kind of have this moments of F my feelings for a second. I said I was going to get this thing done. Again, what's the bare minimum, if you need to check the box? The most important thing is getting the thing done, not always doing it to its excellent level.
Mm.
So grit comes in. And then grit feeds back into number one. The more you do something you don't want to do, especially the things you don't want to do on the day you don't want to do it, oh my gosh, does that build your self-belief that you did it
Mm.
anyways? And then it starts again.
Wow. Wow. I'm going to go back and re-listen. So I'm taking notes as we're talking, but I know this is an episode I'm going to re-listen over and over again. Thank you so much for that framework. And when I was listening to you describe this framework for consistency, like the thing that was coming into my spirit was, wow, this is exactly how to build self-trust. This is exactly how to build self-trust and also self-respect.
Mhm.
If I am the person that is consistent using this framework you just gave us, I'm going to respect myself more. I'm no longer going to talk down on myself the way many people talk down on themselves when they look at themselves in the mirror. And like, I love this so much. And like, this is gold for, especially for my listeners. Um, so I want you to talk a little bit about purpose, passion, and fulfillment because you mentioned that at the beginning of the episode. And like just listening to you, I can feel your passion. I can feel that you are purposeful in the work you're doing in the world. And I can for sure see that you are fulfilled, right? So, can you talk our listeners through these three elements of being a successful human being, like successful human being, not just from the monetary perspective, but just from a personal fulfillment perspective.
Yeah, I think fulfillment is one of the most beautiful things we can strive for. And
Mm,
I enjoy the word fulfillment more than happy, more
mm,
than I think happy because we chase after happiness quite a bit, but happiness doesn't always mean fulfilled.
mm,
We can have a superficial happy moment, but it doesn't mean we're fulfilled. Like I can be happy sitting there eating a pint of ice cream watching my favorite show. Absolutely. Is that a part of my fulfillment? Definitely. But it is the only, if it's the only thing, absolutely not. If it's the only thing, it's actually detrimental. Fulfillment leaves room for there to be hard things. You are not fulfilled if you're not doing hard things that make you better, that make your life better. And
mm,
happiness, I don't think brings that in enough. So fulfillment, well, let's start with happy. Happy, if you want to look at happy as a whole, I think it is made up of fulfillment. I think it is made up of joy, and I think it is made up of pleasure. If we were to give
mm,
happiness a title, if just overwhelm, like overall, if you're zooming out, are you happy? Yes, because I have moments of pleasure, I have moments of joy, and I have moments of fulfillment. I think those can bring in happiness. But pleasure is my moment on the couch with my ice cream with my favorite show. So important.
yeah.
So important. It's buying a new pair of shoes. Absolutely. Love that for me. Detrimental if that's your only lifestyle. If you're only in what I would consider vice all of the time, pleasure's not a place to live all the time, for sure.
Mm,
But is it so important for happiness? Absolutely. Joy is a whole nother layer of that. Joy is a present moment. Joy is my walks with my family. Joy is taking
mm,
the boys fishing. Joy is me, even right now. I feel like I'm in my passion, my purpose, but I'm also in very much joy because I'm very present.
mm,
And then
mm,
fulfillment, if you were to, if we were to picture joy, so pleasure, joy, and fulfillment, and happiness is in the center. And now we
mm,
zoom in on fulfillment.
mm,
Fulfillment is pouring into your purpose, pouring into your potential. It is contribution and it is
mm,
quality of life. So, how often are you pouring into your potential? How often are you expanding yourself and putting work into the things that matter to you most? And then,
mm,
how often are you contributing? And this doesn't have to be something big and grand. This can be contributing to your family, to your household, to your local anything, right? Whatever scale feels like contribution to you. Don't let anyone tell you what that is. That's a very individual thing.
mm,
And then quality of life. Again, what does that mean to you? Quality of life for me is out in the country, is on my dirt road, is not seeing neighbors and being surrounded by pavement and all these things. The city drives me nuts. I feel so suppressed in the city. It's not
Mm.
for me. My quality of life is here in nature, in simplicity. And we do all of our favorite things out here. So the quality of life is very important to me. So knowing all of those different facets and trusting that they're different, but all very important,
Mm.
fulfillment.
Mm.
Any one of those things is not going to keep you fulfilled. But if you can have touch points in all of those, pleasure, joy, fulfillment, quality of life, pouring into your potential, you're going to be more fulfilled.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. This is a masterclass in and of itself. Honestly, gosh, I love this so much, Amy. Um, I want you to tell us, Amy, how do you keep your, I want to say, excitement, motivation for life? Like, what's your routine like? Almost like your mental gym to keep yourself at I don't want to say peak performance. Just like you said, we have times where we can like deflate or recalibrate whatever that is. But what's your mental health gym like?
My mental health gym. Oh, my mental health gym is better than ever for sure, but it's because I have a clear picture of what all of those things are. Everything I
Mm,
just mentioned, I have very clear and high clarity on what all of those things are and how to touch in on them regularly.
mm,
My self-awareness, I think, is one of the most important things we can have. So, yes, self-belief, those are all part of self-awareness, but knowing yourself and what genuinely makes you as the individual happy, what genuinely brings you joy, pleasure, quality of life, all of these things. That's why self-discovery, self-awareness is so important. Knowing what your core values are, knowing what your
mm,
core beliefs are, knowing what your core aspirations are. That's going to just create this beautiful map for you. So, the more you can know about you, the better. And yes, it's
mm,
a journey. And yes, it's kind of messy sometimes, but it's also really cool. And it's going to help you create the life that you want to create. And I stay what we actually call a peak in a peak performance state. So I have a habit tracker, habits that I do every day that keep me in touch with all of this. And it's called a peak performance tracker. But you cannot be a peak performer without rest and rejuvenation and the things that fuel you back up. So you can still be a peak performer and rest. The most peak performing person I know is Alan Lazarus. He is the CEO of Next Level University. The dude is a computer engineer, business major, just the most talented coach I have ever witnessed. His brain is the one that comes up with these frameworks and understands all of these things in this kind of beautiful, tangible way. Like I call him Mr. How To. He can reverse engineer any goal, any dream, anything. He is a just this unbelievable man to witness. And I'm so grateful to even be in his vicinity and to work so closely with him. And he, yes, has to have downtime. Now, he has very small amounts of it because he's such a busy man. You should see this guy's calendar. It gives me anxiety just thinking about it. But he also doesn't have kids yet. We always joke that while my kids are doing their thing and growing, and then he's going to have kids so we can kind of offset each other a little bit. So he
mm,
makes sure, though, every night he has his moments of joy and pleasure and happiness and things. He has a wonderful partner who's also like building her own business and just crushing life and believes in all of these things like he does. And they make sure they shut it down in the evening. They have their pets, they have good food, they watch their favorite movie or something together, and then they go to bed at a decent time because they know how important sleep is. But even this man, who is just robo human, it's unbelievable, has moments of rest. He has to. He has to.
mm.
He cannot serve as much as he does in a day. So you deserve that
Wow.
too. Everybody.
Yes, we all deserve that. And I want you to tell us more about the Next Level University, because like we were talking just before we hit the record button, and I'm like, I'm gonna be in that Facebook group. So tell
Oh.
us about the Next Level University and the Facebook group.
Oh my goodness. Well, we would love to have you in our community. We love heart-driven humans, and so you would be a very aligned member. So we, like we said, believe in self-awareness every day, a
Mm,
little piece of self-awareness every day. So I run that Facebook group myself, and I am in there every day offering just a little question to you. What is something that we can help you know about you? And sometimes it's just like a simple this or that. what do you like better with your chocolate, peanut butter or caramel? And sometimes it's, hey, like today's is if your Friday had a sticky note attached to it for your weekend ahead, what would it say? And people are putting little tangible things in there. Someone else is just saying that it's all worth it. That was a really beautiful answer. Or that they're worthy of joy this weekend. Or mine was to just like tackle my to-do list because damn, it's getting big. So we just have these little beautiful touch points every day. And so that's called Next Level Nation. It's on Facebook. Anyone is welcome and it is free. Mhm.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I want you to also tell, like, apart from the Facebook group, what else does Next Level University offer? Like, what do you help people with?
Mm. We Well, Alan himself is very big on frameworks and triangles, and especially triads. And so he now pictures NLU as this triad. And so we have holistic self-improvement, but we've now kind of switched it over to personal development because it turns out no one knows what holistic self-improvement means until we explain it. So it's not very catchy. So for marketing and things, it's kind of a nightmare. But personal development, everyone seems to know. So personal development is at the top. And we
Mm.
have this whole section. So the CSO and co-founder of Next Level University is Kevin Palmieri. Again, just the greatest dude. These two are unbelievable. Just such healthy masculines doing great things in the world. And
Mm.
I'm genuinely so grateful that I get to work with them as closely as I do. Kevin runs the entire podcasting section of our business. So they have grown Next Level University from a podcast. It started
Wow.
as a weekly podcast, then they started doing bi-weekly episodes, and now they do an episode every day. So they have a daily podcast called Next Level University, and from there they have built a whole podcast production system team where they
Mm.
produce and help people start, monetize, and grow their podcast. And Kevin runs that. He's also a podcast coach. The guy himself has been on over 3,000 episodes, whether it be his own podcast, Next Level University, or he has one called Podcast Growth University now, where it's just for podcasters. That's a weekly episode. And he guests on podcasts. So all three of us guest on podcasts. And then the next pillar over here is Business Growth University. Alan, Mr. Business. He helps people grow and scale their business better than anyone I have ever seen, genuinely. He has such a mind for it, and he is all about tracking, so metrics, habits, but building the identity work along the way. And so we are like now heavily focused on expanding that because we would like that to have its own Facebook group as well, just like Podcast Growth University. He has his own weekly podcast there for business and entrepreneurs. And then, of course, Next Level University is the holistic self improvement, personal development, which I take as much of a face of as I can.
Oh, fantastic. So, just for my own knowledge, the Business Growth University has its own Facebook group, correct?
That's the one we're building right now. So it has its own
Okay.
podcast. We're behind the scenes personally inviting people to the business podcast accelerator, or sort of the business growth accelerator. So as soon as Alan and I have 10 people, we're going to take people through a whole new group coaching program. So we do have group coaching right now. It's a podcast accelerator. I was explaining that to you right now or before we hopped on, but we have free calls every month. Last night was our free call for July, and we talked about habits. We talked about how to build and sustain really aligned habits, and that's free. We have a book club every week where we do growth-oriented books, and it's genuinely one of my favorite spaces. Again, just a really safe space to grow, expand, hear some hard truths, learn some cool stuff. It's amazing. And again, the Facebook group is free. We have a lot of things going on so we can offer as much to people in whatever part of their journey that they're in,
Mm.
whether they're ready to invest monetarily or maybe they're not. Maybe they're not there yet, and we still want to make sure those people are being seen and supported.
Yes. Wow. Awesome. Okay, so you're gonna give me the all the links. So I already have the links to the Facebook group. So guys, it will be in the show notes if you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and it will be in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Amy, I feel like I could talk to you for hours, right? But tell me about the peak performance tracker.
Oh, so so again, what you measure matters. It does.
Yes.
And genuinely, if you get a streak going at something, if you're learning to be consistent and you want to start doing something every day, keep track. Because when you
Mm.
have a streak going in something, it is going to help you stay on track because it's hard to give something up after 30 days. Like, oh, am I really not going to do this thing? I've been doing it for 30 days. Am I really going to let today be the day? So I talked
Mm,
about my half hour fitness. I gave you an example there. I have a half hour fitness every day. Again, aligned movement every day. So sometimes it's just stretching, sometimes it's a walk, sometimes it's yoga, and sometimes it's weights, whatever I get to feel like that day, or else it would not be consistent or sustainable for me. I have been doing that as someone who was never able to consistently work out or honor my body in any way because I deeply believed my body was this like broken piece of garbage, if I'm being
mm,
super honest and vulnerable here from being so sick. I have been able to do it for over 1,000 days
wow.
based on that, based on not breaking a streak and giving myself so much sustainability, adaptability, sometimes grit to get it done.
Mhm,
And so keeping track is so important. Now, on there, we've expanded it to like I have, I don't know, at least 12 habits on there. A lot of them are for business. So I have to make sure I'm checking in on certain things. Posting in Next Level Nation every day is one of them. But I also measure the things that matter to me. So where am I in my self-worth? And I rate that
mm,
from 0 to 10 every day. Where am I? Well, I'm one of those women who absolutely has low self, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I have a lot of like unnecessary value in my physical appearance that I don't think very highly of, unfortunately. Better than ever, but I think a lot of women struggle with that. So I make sure I track that as well. How am I feeling about myself today? What did I do for myself today? And again, being able to stay fit has really helped with that. But so I have things on there that really help with my mental health and my self-worth and things. But then I also have the tangible habits. Did I post an explanation today? Was I in WhatsApp? We have so many WhatsApp communities. It's beautiful. Was I in WhatsApp today? Did I support group coaching today? I'm the head of group coaching. I better be in there every day. It's on my habit. And I'm in there every day, so I want to get credit for it. So absolutely, it's on my habit tracker so I can give myself a little check, right? There's a lot of things on there. But I was so against tracking at first. It
mm,
felt restrictive, especially the feminine. We love just to be, well, it helps us do this and focus
mm,
on what's important and gives us permission to, if nothing else gets done that day other than these most important things, then it must not have been that important and I can do it tomorrow.
mm,
It's
mm.
given me a lot of insight into myself. It's let me witness my growth journey because the habits shift, they expand, they I can add to it as time has gone on, but typically we do start people with three. If you've never tracked habits before, remember we want to have humility. So three is pretty much the baseline for starting, and it's really important to be able to start there and build.
Oh gosh, so amazing. So like what do you use for tracking? Do you have like an app?
We use Google Sheets.
Okay.
Yeah, we build out a Google Sheet for someone so that I can have access to it, they can have access to it, and we can help build it out. And by we, I mean Alan. Alan is the creator of all of this. I can't even pretend to understand Google and Google Sheets to a fraction that this computer engineer man does. My tech, again, I know more than ever, but oh my gosh, coming into this journey and into this company that uses all these technological things, I'm like, I say to Alan all the time, I'm like, I need you to talk to me like I'm a toddler. Talk to me like I'm a toddler and explain to me your Google. So I can't take any credit for that.
So amazing. I love this so much. Amy, it's been a joy having you on the podcast. Before we go, last words for our listeners.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. I can tell you're doing beautiful work in the world, and this podcast is proof of it. So thank you so much for having me. Well, you learned a lot today. We went over self-belief, we went over consistency. Again, pick one, pick which one spoke to you the most. Try not to take it on all at once. That's not going to be sustainable. Pick which framework spoke to you the most, and then pick one thing from that framework. Do you need to increase your self-belief? Do you need to
Mm.
have more humility? Do you need to make something more sustainable? Maybe you need to increase your grit. Whatever it is, pick one, focus, and go from there. And maybe you and I can get together another time and we can dive into self-worth.
I would love that so much, Amy. Where can listeners connect with you?
I honestly on social media, Facebook or Instagram. I can't pretend to have expanded anywhere outside of that. We've talked about my tech issues. I feel like Facebook and Instagram are hard enough for me to navigate, but anyone can message me anytime on both of those platforms, and I'm happy to answer questions and support you there if I can.
Amazing. I want to do an IG live with you. So we can do like a 20-minute or 30-minute live because I want to like get your wisdom, your message, like, is so magnetic, and I feel like more people need to hear you. So I would love to do IG Live with you, please, Amy.
Oh, I would be so honored to do that. I would love to.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, it's been a joy having you on the podcast. And yes, listeners, I'm gonna bring her back because there is a lot more she can teach us. Thank you so much, Amy, for being on the show.
Thank you, Joy.
Hey, very quickly before you go, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending time with me today. I hope today's episode gave you something powerful to add to your business toolbox, something you can come back to anytime you need a little extra motivation in your business. If you loved today's episode, the best way you can support me and the show is to leave me a review and also to share this with an incredible businesswoman like yourself. And if you're ready to create consistent 10K months with ease and alignment, I invite you to apply to join my 6 months mastermind. Visit johnnyroland.com to book your free complimentary discovery call. I cannot wait to help you step into your next level. Until next time, stay aligned, stay confident, and keep creating joyful money. Bye for now.